What's up, everybody? I'm Puma Pete,
And I am Moosin.
and you are watching MobaMashup's Competitive Catchup, the show where we try to compress hours of competitive gameplay into about a 10-minute video. In this video, we'll cover the match results, give game summaries, and discuss key players in Week 3 of League of Legends European LCS. Let's jump into the action.
Game 1 of Week 3 started off with Alliance taking on Gambit Gaming. After a disappointing Week 1, Alliance had a strong showing in Week 2, and they looked to keep their momentum going against a Gambit Gaming team that was trying to bounce back from a loss to Roccat in Week 2. The game started off with some quick action when Diamond ganked mid lane, allowing Alexich to get off a quick lead on Kha'Zix. With his early lead and some help with Darien roaming down from the top lane, Alexich managed to pick up a second kill on Froggen, then rotated top for a third kill on Wicked's Malphite. Alliance tried to close the gold gap by picking up a dragon, but Diamond turned this around on them when he helped Genja pick up a kill on Shook's Nunu and then smited the dragon for Gambit. On the back of this gold lead, Gambit snowballed on the back of Alexich's power, taking map control and taking down 5 of Alliance's towers before Alliance finally retaliated by taking their first tier 1 tower. However, at this point, Gambit's lead was so insurmountable, despite a perfectly executed teamfight for Alliance, Gambit took down their mid inhib, and with that lane pushing, rotated bot to take that inhibitor as well. After picking off Alexich and nearly taking down Darien, Alliance attempted to pick up a Baron and try to turn the game around, but a 3-man ultimate from Edward on Annie decimated Alliance, allowing Gambit to pick up multiple kills and a Baron despite being down a man. With Baron on their side, Gambit managed to walk straight into Alliance's base and destroy the Nexus, giving them the first win of Week 3.
Our most anticipated game of Week 3 was Game 2 of the day, when Roccat finally met up with Fnatic Gaming. After a strong showing in the first 2 weeks, it seemed as if Roccat had what it takes to deal Fnatic their first loss of this season of the LCS. A chaotic gank in middle lane from Jankos appeared as if it was going to give Roccat an early lead, until Yellowstar and Cyanide came in to save the day, allowing XPK to escape and Yellowstar to pick up first blood and double buffs from Jankos. With the added power of double buffs, Yellowstar and Reckless dominated the top lane and picked up a tower to counter the early one taken by Roccat in the bot lane. Fnatic did manage to build about a 2k gold lead by picking up the first dragon of the game, but Roccat managed to close the gap by picking up a second tower and the second dragon of the game. After Fnatic made a heavy commitment to a gank in the top lane, Roccat managed to take out Fnatic's first inhib tower, which was left defenseless. From here, the game slowed down immensely, until Fnatic managed to steal a Baron unnoticed by using Jinx's rocket range to attack the Baron from the outside of the Baron pit. With Baron on their side, Fnatic attempted to siege up mid lane, but an overextension allowed Roccat to defend their base and pick up 5 kills in an extremely chaotic teamfight. Roccat did manage to pick up the second Baron of the game, but were unable to take any significant gains with the help of the buff on their side. With the game still at a stalemate, Fnatic managed to pick off an out-of-position overpow, which led to the third Baron of the game going the way of Fnatic. And with the power of the extra regen, Fnatic finally managed to penetrate Rockat's base, and after taking down Celiver, took Rockat's Nexus to remain undefeated at 6-0.
Teams battling to get out of the bottom of the standings. Superhot Crew and SK Gaming met up in Game 3. SHC's bot lane of Sona and Caitlyn managed to pick up a very early tower in the bot lane to gain an early gold lead, but SK quickly struck back by taking a top tower to equalize the game. An over-aggressive attempt by SHC to steal SK's blue buff led to a double kill and goal lead for SK Gaming, but SHC struck back with a dragon kill to once again tie up the game. SHC finally managed to gain an advantage when a fight at the dragon pit led to another dragon, 2 kills, and a tower for them. The game again slowed down immensely as both teams seemed satisfied to farm until late game. The action picked up when an ill-planned push by SK led to SHC picking up 3 kills and a dragon. SHC and SK traded kills and towers back and forth as neither team managed to gain the upper hand as the game progressed. Finally, SHC took a definitive teamfight at the Baron pit at the 46-minute mark to pick up 3 kills on SK and managed to take down the Nexus as SK's respawn timers prevented them from defending.
Fnatic looked to follow up their impressive win against Roccat in the last game of the day when they took on Copenhagen Wolves. Aggressive plays from both teams led to them trading kills early in the bot lane, with first blood going to Fnatic. The Wolves once again traded kills to Fnatic in order to take down both towers in Fnatic's bot lane, keeping the gold equal, but giving the Wolves slight map advantage. Fnatic managed to take the lead when they turned a disorganized teamfight into 3 kills and 2 towers. At the 25-minute mark, the Wolves tried to regain control of the game by taking Baron, but Fnatic caught them out, wiping the Wolves and picking up Baron themselves. With the power of the buff on their side, Fnatic managed to take a 4v5 as the Copenhagen Wolves tried to pick up a dragon, killing off 3 members of the Wolves and taking their middle inhibitor. With the middle inhib down, Fnatic sieged up the Wolves' top lane, slowly poking away at their inhibitor tower. The Wolves did manage to deter the push, but as the two teams pressured the Baron pit, Fnatic caught them out, picking up a couple kills, which allowed them to pick up the buff once again. With the buff on their side, they finally brought down the top tower and the inhib. As both teams once again fought for Baron, the Wolves managed to steal the Baron away from Fnatic and pick up a couple kills, keeping them in the game despite the lead Fnatic had. As time passed, the late game power of Kayle and Caitlyn allowed the Wolves to begin to gain the upper hand and push down a number of Fnatic's towers, cutting Fnatic's lead away. At the 50-minute mark, the teams once again met up at the Baron pit, and after Fnatic managed to wipe all of the Wolves at the pit, they pushed in to take the Nexus and extend their record to 7-0.
Alliance and SK Gaming both looked to bounce back from day 1 losses in the opening match of day 2. A great gank from Shook as Lee Sin helped Froggen pick up first blood in the mid lane and give Alliance an early gold lead, but great plays from Jungle Pantheon helped SK Gaming at the 10-minute mark, and SK managed to pull ahead at the 14-minute mark as they picked up the first dragon of the game. SK maintained this lead until the 20-minute mark when a counter gank from Shook in the mid lane gave SK a 2-1 trade and allowed them to pick up the first tower kill of the game. The game remained tied for only a short time as SK answered by picking up 2 towers and the second dragon of the game. This gold lead accrued by SK firmly put them in control of the game, picking up towers, kills, and another dragon as the game progressed. With the snowball rolling, SK gained complete map control, and after picking up a Baron at the 32-minute mark, pushed in for the win and destroyed the Nexus only 3 minutes later.
The second game of day 2 saw Super Hot Crew looking to continue their momentum from day 1 against the Copenhagen Wolves. An early engagement in the bottom lane and a great dark binding from support Morgana led to an extremely early first blood for SHC. The game slowed down at this point, but SHC continued to build a small gold lead by picking up the first tower kill and first dragon of the game by the 10-minute mark. This slow pace continued until a mid lane push by Super Hot Crew gave them 3 kills and allowed them to pick up both the tier 1 and tier 2 towers in the middle as well as another dragon. Much like SK in the game before them, Super Hot Crew allowed the lead they built to snowball them to victory, picking up towers and kills with essentially no answer from the Wolves. The Copenhagen Wolves showed signs of life when they took a fight at their base and picked up 3 kills on SHC as well as a Baron buff. The Wolves managed to hold on with another heroic base defense, but as they returned to the Baron pit for a second time, they were caught out by a respawn to SHC, and after picking up an ace, Super Hot Crew finally managed to take down the Wolves' Nexus.
Roccat looked to return to their dominant form in the next game of the day when they took on SK Gaming. Svenskeren picked up right where he left off in the Alliance game when he picked up first blood in the bot lane against Celavar's Jinx. The day's passive nature continued into this game, as both teams seemed content to farm into mid-game. Around the 12-minute mark, SK managed to pick up the first dragon of the game, which gave them a small lead over Roccat, but Roccat responded by picking up bottom towers shortly after, bringing the lead to a negligible amount. As the game approached 20 minutes, both teams traded a couple kills, but this game essentially remained a farm fest between the two teams. Action finally erupted when SK simultaneously won small skirmishes in both top and bot lanes, trading 3 kills for 1 and picking up 2 towers, leading SK to have the first substantial gold lead of the game. At the 27-minute mark with a 10k gold lead, SK attempted to pick up Baron, but a well-timed barrel combination from Overpower and Gragas allowed Roccat to hold off the snowballing SK. Unfortunately for Roccat, they were unable to do anything with the buff, and as it timed out, SK aced them, pushed in for the win 35 minutes into this game.
The final match of day 2 was a rematch between 2 of EU's top teams, the undefeated Fnatic and Gambit Gaming. Early game, it seemed as if Fnatic would easily continue their undefeated streak, when an ill-fated jungle invade by Genja and Edward gave up a double kill to Fnatic, but great ganks from Diamond on Evelynn allowed Gambit to not only eliminate Fnatic's gold lead, but build one of their own. Both teams continued the aggression, as Alex H continued to pick up kills in the mid lane, as Fnatic picked up kills and a tower in the top lane. Gambit began to pull away with the game around the 18-minute mark, when they picked up the first dragon of the game and followed it up with a 2-for-1 trade in the bot lane. Both teams traded kills back and forth as the game continued, but Gambit did continue to slowly build their lead as they picked up multiple dragon kills. Gambit's gold lead continued to grow as they took down Fnatic's outer towers, but were unable to penetrate the base of Fnatic. At the 44-minute mark, Gambit managed to pick up a Baron buff, which seemed to finally give them the power they needed to break Fnatic's defense. With the buff on their side, Gambit systematically took down all 3 of Fnatic's inhibitors, and as super minions flooded into Fnatic's base, Gambit ruined Fnatic's perfect record by taking down their Nexus at the 50-minute mark.
With all the Week 3 games finished, let's take a look at the standings. Fnatic still sits atop the EU standings, but their perfect record is no more, as Gambit finally took them down, allowing them to move into the number 2 slot, pushing Roccat down to number 3 after a 0-2 week. SK Gaming managed to finally move up to 4th after a 2-1 week, and Super Hot Crew jumped 3 places from 8th to 5th on the back of a 2-0 week. Copenhagen Wolves dropped from 4th to 6th after losing both of their games. Millennium, who had no games in Week 3, maintained their 7th place position, and Alliance, after another winless week, dropped to last place.
Now let's talk about our MVP of Week 3 in Europe. After his performance on Evelynn in the last game of the week, we have decided that Diamond of Team Gambit Gaming is most deserving of MVP. While his statistics may not be as impressive as teammates Alex Hitch and Genja, Diamond turned around a disastrous early game with ganks in both the mid and bot lane that gave his team the momentum they needed to take down the formerly unbeaten Fnatic.
Our big winner for the week was SK Gaming. After a disappointing record of 0-2 in Week 2, SK turned it around this week, going 2-1, picking up a win against Alliance in 3rd place Roccat. Not only did they win those 2 matches, but they rolled over both teams, winning both matches in decisive fashion. SK only has 1 match in the upcoming week, so we'll see if they can keep their momentum going against the Copenhagen Wolves.
Our big loser for Week 3 was Alliance. It seemed as if the supposed European All-Star team was going to live up to the hype after a strong showing in Week 2, but they once again failed to pick up a win in Week 3, dropping them to a disappointing 2-6 record and moving them into last place in the European standings.
Alright, that's all we have for Week 3 in the EU LCS. With all that taken care of, let's look ahead to Week 4 to get a sneak peek at some of the key matchups coming up.
There are 2 key matchups coming up in Week 4 in the European scene. Day 1 opens up with Alliance taking on Fnatic. While a matchup between the top and bottom teams of the standings may seem like an underwhelming match, this game is a way for both teams to bounce back from their losses of Week 3, and possibly allow Alliance to show they deserve the hype that built up around their team before this season of the LCS began.
The other key matchup of Week 4 is when Roccat gets a match against Fnatic in Day 2. Roccat struggled this week going 0-2, including a match against Fnatic, but after Gambit demonstrated that Fnatic can be beaten, we'll see if Roccat can learn anything from this week and deal Fnatic their 2nd loss.
Alright, that's all for us today. Thanks for watching our video, guys, and again, let us know what you liked about the video, what we can do to improve on in future videos, and keep your eyes open next week for our wrap-ups of Week 4 for both the NA and European scenes. I'm Puma Peep.
And I am Moosin. Thanks for watching MobaMashup's Competitive Catchup.